It's Championship Saturday at the USDGC. You found SpinTV's lead card coverage. I'm Jamie Thomas, and I'll be joined momentarily by Ken Climo, the champ himself. 2018 was an epic preview of the 2019 Tour frontrunners. Refresh your memory and get hyped for this final round battle with our Heritage Series.
In 2018, picturesque October conditions treated spectators to a wonderful walk around Winthrop. Defending champion Nate Sexton was seemingly on the outside, looking in, back by 8 strokes. James Conrad and Kevin Jones delighted fans with their particular styles of golf, and each found himself 5 strokes behind 2015 U.S. champion Paul McBeth. McBeth ceded a stroke to both Conrad and Jones on the very first hole, and though he would earn his lead back with inspired putting, by the time the card finished the infamous 13th, the cushion had vanished. Tied with 5 to play and running with the tank visibly on empty, Paul McBeth dug deep and birdied 4 of the last 5 holes to seal his victory. In winning his second USDGC title, Paul became only the 4th player in history to become a multi-time U.S. champion. So, it all comes down to this: 18 holes. One more autumn afternoon tussle with this legendary course. One more opportunity for these players to make their case. One more opportunity to put their elite talents on display. The final round of the final major of the 2019 season starts right now.
We are back. It's SpinTV. It's the USDGC. It's Jamie and the champ. We are here to bring you 18 more holes, and this is going to be epic. Champ, it has been a crazy week. We have seen things we would never expect to see, but most importantly, we are seeing a flat scoreboard up the top. There are so many people that could still win this event.
Yeah, correct, sir. There's many players within, a handful of the lead at this point, and with the weather and the wind we're seeing today, anything can happen out on this wild track. It's going to be a show out there, and whoever keeps their medal the best is probably going to win it.
James Conrad comes in with a 2-stroke advantage over Eagle McMahon, dealing with the boxer's fracture injury on his right hand. The bazooka himself, Albert Tamm, and Nathan Queen also vying for this title.
So hole 1 is last year's hole 3 and the new face of the USDGC to start the tournament. Players will have the option to swing it out wide or throw straight at the basket. Either way they go, when Andy Green, the starter for 20 years, calls their name, they'll need to be ready to throw a great shot. In the past, the hole was easier. Now the course will demand more than it ever has right away.
Demanding conditions, demanding course, and some pretty low scores right now. This will be a whole lot of fun. James Conrad standing right there. He's been so close in so many majors for the last couple years. He is notably not really a forehand player, and it's kind of known as that left to right course.
Yeah, I think more noticeably today, this hole's going to play a little tougher because of the headwind. And you'll probably see more players throwing it along the right-hand side there just to be safe and not have to take that penalty stroke for the hazard.
And Conrad ends in that right side in the bushes. We've seen a lot of the right-hand backhand shots find themselves down there. Here is Eagle McMahon, and this is going to be interesting. Dealing with the boxer's fracture on the hand after punching the ground from missing a putt on 16 in the 3rd round. He's going to be limited to the forehand for most of the day.
There were rumors that he was not going to be able to play today, so just to see him out there teeing off is a good sign.
Yeah, he swings that one a little bit wide. He's going to find the hazard.
Noticeably, very simple shot for Eagle normally, and his hand has to be bothering him for him to yank that over like that.
Albert Tamm, the Estonian bazooka. Big power out of this guy right here. He looks to line up the backhand.
First time I've got to see this guy play, and he looks like a big, strong dude, and comes out with a very nice line on that. A little bit short, but gets a nice skip and just nestles right up there close, about 10 feet away.
Well, we might be in for a treat in this round. If he can find a celebration-worthy shot, he's probably got something up his sleeve.
You can't birdie them all if you don't birdie the first.
And Nathan Queen, the energy is behind this guy right here. His smile electrifying.
Yeah, he seems to be a crowd favorite. He's a local North Carolinian, so I think a lot of the crowd is going to be pulling for him more than the other guys, just because he's the local favorite at this point in the lead group.
What a story it would be.
Oh, and that sets down a little early. Yes, you can see the banners blowing in the background. There is quite a bit of headwind on this hole, so it's playing much differently in days past than in days past.
A little bit of rain was starting to come down here at the beginning of this round as well,
which could also make it tricky for the players when they find the chains that just sometimes like to slip through in that first wetness.
Conrad, his big frame, not really meant for those low ceiling putts, but that's a good effort. Eagle.
Pretty good line for a long putt there with a messed up hand, so hopefully he'll be able to dial that in the rest of the day.
Nathan also going to miss his low. Yeah, we saw Eagle. That's not at the velocity we're used to seeing on his putt.
Yeah, it looked to be about 3/4 of his normal speed.
And very quickly, the American stumble on the first hole. The Estonian takes the open window. He'll birdie.
It's a good start. No damage for the leader.
Yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot of cushion to work with there, but when Eagle and Nathan bogey, then you breathe a little bit easier after the first hole.
The partnership between the United States Disc Golf Championship and Edge Disc Golf has allowed us to introduce disc golf to more than 6,000 students in its history. Edge reached a milestone this year by providing over 100,000 discs to PE programs.
290,000. That is the number of dollars that have been donated to the Edge program since they started working with the championship back in 2005, and that does a whole lot of good for a whole lot of communities.
Yeah, it's quite a sight to see all the school buses come out and drop the kids off to the Edge Village and have them, go through some basic techniques with a bunch of teachers that are out there ready to help them. And then the kids come over and watch the players for a little bit and cheer them on. It's quite a spectacle.
Future champions in the making as we go on to hole number 2. This par 4, we've talked about it all week, this runaway green on the U-turn. First you got to get to the Mando, and then you got to get it close enough. And this is Albert Tamm. Big forehand power from this guy here.
Seems to be the shot of choice on this hole. You get that nice skip off the top there, and then it gets down to the bottom area, and that's just perfectly thrown. You couldn't walk it out there and place it any better. As you can see, he was about 8 or 10 feet from another set of little trees there that can mess up your second shot, but if you're just short of them, you just have dialed in that throw.
And somebody forgot to tell James Conrad it's a lefty course there, because he does almost the same thing with a turnover.
Yeah, that's pretty slick to get it on the downslope there with a backhand.
Ooh, Eagle just finding his way through those branches. Not that one, though.
I think that one actually helped him, because he would have traveled a little farther forward and been into that little bit of a jail we see out there with this tiny little, there's nothing really big there, just a couple of 2-inch trees and stuff, but there's like 50 of them, and it's really hard to get out of there.
Wow, Nathan Queen has just been automatic with this shot.
Isn't that the same exact place he drove it yesterday?
Yeah, I thought we were looking from footage from yesterday there.
See, if Eagle's disc would have traveled another 10 or 15 feet forward, we would not have had this shot.
Because some of the unspoken danger, the things you don't realize, that little jail can be tough. That's not going to be any easier of a putt there. I would expect a par is on the way for him.
Yeah, high side on that green into the bushes is, it's makeable, but it's tough to give it the good go because that green is slick. Look at another backhand right around the corner and just short of the bush line. He's going to have an unencumbered throw there.
How about that angle control, though?
Speed control as well. It's both. It's angle and speed control to make that perfect turn in there.
And then that's some nice touch with the sidearm.
He's put that one on the chips. He's got a nice level putt from 8 feet. Guaranteed birdie.
Nathan, this does look exactly like where he was yesterday.
And we'd expect to see him throw the exact same shot.
Gets it even closer this time.
All right, don't hit your head there when you're picking that one up.
And that's going to be great recovery from the early bogey.
As you talked about, Eagle had just found his way into this corner, and that's even a little worse off than I had thought it was. He's got a really low limb right in front of him, and basically all he can do is pitch it out.
Yeah, his decision was made for him in there. Here's James once again. A little bit of brush on his back.
If you'll notice, there was only 10 or 12 feet between their two discs, but look at James is wide open, and he's got the birdie, and Eagle was very, very buried in that tree there.
If nothing else, Winthrop can be a game of inches a lot of the time as Albert Tamm takes the easy birdie. Eagles par. And Nathan Queen back to even for the round.
That's nice when you can knock that bogey away with a quick birdie.
So hole 3 is the first of the 2 new holes and is trying to bring the concept of the open and the woods together. Players off the tee will need to throw a big shot that is also a placement shot. It's important to test accuracy and distance at the same time. They'll have to funnel their way through a double mandatory to finish the hole with a fast green sloping away. This will be an early test on the course.
And the not large, but the double mando, it's pretty small, it's pretty far away. Good field goal out to the right side here. Tamm, ooh, that's a mistake.
Down the left-hand side, and he's got a little bit of late turn out of that, so it's not going to go into that tree line, but man, has he ripped that thing.
Yeah, if he had actually hit the line he was going for, no telling how far that would have gone.
It's much better to miss left than it is right in this hole. At least you have a chance to possibly still go through the window if you choose to from out left, but early right, you have no choice but to lay up.
And James, he's going to be a little further than he wants to be from that mando here. Nathan Queen with an opportunity.
Looked like he overturned it a little bit and just dug. Didn't go anywhere. This one's hyzering back, and if that's got enough D, he should be able to go for that.
We've seen him go for it in rounds past, and every round he's gotten closer and closer. Got the birdie yesterday.
I think it's a little easier to attack this mando from the short side if you're lefty or sidearm player. If you're a backhand player, you want to get it way out there so you can have a straight shot through that double mando.
Eagle, no real surprise to see him change from the roller play yesterday to the forehand today.
Yeah, and this is so short and right that he's just doing the smart thing and laying it up well short of the mando trees.
Yeah, not a ton of aggression from much of the lead card that we've seen all week, Champ. How do you tweak this hole a little bit to kind of entice these players to go for it?
I mean, really the only thing you could do is maybe bring the mando a little closer to the tee or the tee closer to the mandos. I really don't see much else you could do if you want to keep the same width of a double mando tree there. And, you know, it's a tough green, so I like to where the green is. The only thing you do is make it a little shorter to tempt them more.
Yeah, Nathan Queen there, putting the disc close to the basket, but not passing on the correct side of the right field goal post. Albert needs to hook.
Oh, he's caught the tree, but not too bad. Stay short of the mando. Not going to have to add a stroke.
Worse things have happened. Here's Eagle.
He's left himself a little pinched off. Had to put some sharp angle on that, and he's done just great with that. There's a little hazard just behind this hole. It's a bunker, and if you're in there, you have to add a stroke. Play from where you lie.
And there is James Conrad's third shot. Again, just taking par right now. So far, same stuff we've seen all week. Nobody's really separating or really pushing the issue. People are content to play patient.
Oh, a lot of these early holes are really hard to get a birdie on, too. You know, as you've seen, I'm sure it doesn't play to more than 25% birdie or so, maybe 30. And 3 and 4 are definitely less than that.
Here's Nathan after the missing the mandatory. Oh, man. Insult to injury right there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to go for it and go into the hazard with that much speed, might as well put it high enough.
The one thing, if you want to criticize his game, and, you know, far be it from me to do because he's still on the lead card, but those putts have just been coming out low in crucial moments for him.
Yeah, it's there's an old ball golf adage that says never up, never in. That means if you don't hit it hard enough, it won't get to the hole. You'll never make it. Same kind of thing in disc golf. If you don't throw it high enough, it will never have a chance to go in.
That's a pretty apt comparison right there. And we get to see the double-double one more time. Again, only 299 feet, only just straight ahead, only 2 sets of double mandos to navigate. I mean, what else more could you want? Manufacturing that hallway style shot with the drop zone for that second double mando being a circle 2 attempt to save your, well, hopefully only bogey, but we have seen worse.
And there's only about 25 trees on each side of this hole as well.
Here's Albert.
Looks a bit right and flat off his hand.
And you can tell he's more of a big kind of power hyzer thrower with the way he brings that disc back through. It's not really much of a straight line. He kind of brings it in and flips it out. Must be tough to get it. Kind of like opposite of how James does here.
James has a good smooth form. The hyzer flip, they say, for these wood shots, it works the best. But he's also got that big power. We see him throw those 500-foot throws.
Most definitely. And this has got to be a very touchy forehand line.
Looks like he's yanked that over a little bit. I think he was just trying to be a little too guided with that one instead of going ahead and following through.
Yeah, hard to take the rotation off of that forehand. And here's Nathan Queen.
And that's how you want to do it. Just go ahead and commit. Put it down the middle, release the disc, follow through, and wow.
There he is, fired up.
We haven't seen too much of that on this hole this week.
No, not often at all. I've only heard rumors of it from other cards.
Be interesting to see what the final tally for the amount of birdies on this hole out of 116 competitors for 4 rounds was.
I mean, it undoubtedly has to be one of the 3 hardest holes on the course, I'm going to guess here.
Oh, that's just a really unforced error there. He was standing dead in the middle of the fairway and hit the first tree he saw.
He's going to be forced to go to the hyzer forehand play.
It's a little easier if you're out on this right-hand side to get through. There's a bigger gap. If you're on the left-hand side, however, their trees line up with each other so perfectly that it's hard to get one through there and then through the double mando.
Yeah, hole 4. 5th hardest hole on the course, playing just over a half stroke over par on average. It's Conrad second.
That's saying a lot for being at 299-foot hole.
Yeah, most definitely. Although the second hardest hole on the course, it's another hole under 300 feet. We'll see that one later.
That one might have a few hay bales around it.
Yeah, just maybe. Nathan Queen, great birdie there to pick himself back up.
Much needed putt here after making a few mistakes up the fairway.
Albert's going to find a double bogey of his own in the first few holes of this round. James, no harm done.
Very content with par on that hole. That's against the field. I don't think that a par hurts you there.
So hole 5 this year has moved back to the corner in its original position. Last year's position on the dock didn't seem to provide as much excitement as we would have liked. From the corner, players will attack at the water and we'll throw 2 shots, hopefully for a birdie, but now we'll have the opportunity to go for the coveted eagle on the hole. We think emotional engagement and exciting shots is what really makes good course design, and an eagle on hole 5 would be the most emotionally engaging thing we might see on the course all week.
Well, so far, still only 1 eagle on this hole all weekend. Players not really listening to Andrew Duvall there, not wanting to try for 3. Here's Nathan. Good little gentle hyzer there. That should skip for a little more distance, settle into a good spot.
Usually throughout the week of the USDGC, we hear about people who go for the green on 5 and 2, and I just haven't heard that story this week. I haven't heard of anybody trying to do it. Seems like everybody's throwing mid-ranges off the tee, just trying to get super safe and be in bounds. Have you heard of anybody shooting for this green and 2 this year. It is possible. I mean, you can throw a roller out there and get past that ditch and then bomb one across if you're so choosing to get an eagle, trying to get an eagle. But it seems like everybody's just 3/4ing their drives and being content with being in bounds.
I heard that Simon had gotten a birdie with an OB stroke, so I guess that would require him to do that. But for the most part, I mean, this is, you got to think that holes 3 and 4, the way the course has been redesigned, it's harder to get into a rhythm where you really want to start bombing the one out here.
It looks like we can see some rain heavy falling here on this fairway, and that could make things interesting. Slick footing, slick grip. Look for these players to have towels in their hands and be ready to wipe those raindrops that are coming down quite hard now off their discs, so they have a good, sure grip.
And there's Eagle with another forehand. We haven't seen a backhand out of him yet that's not a tap-in putt, so it's got to be where the hand is bothering him on that backhand grip.
Yeah, he tends to throw less backhands than sidearms, I would say, in the normal course of proceedings, but I don't think we're going to see him throw any hard backhands today. This is turning towards the water and needs to get down.
Oh.
It was a little too aggressive of a layup. You've got to keep that disc dry.
Here's Albert. Big spike. Going for the birdie, but not the kind that's going to count on the scorecard.
It's a nice spike. And as wet as it is out there right now, that could have skipped and trickled into the hazard there.
He's going to set himself up to go across the corner here. Eagle looks like he wants to sling one as well.
Looks to be throwing that quite well.
Yeah, what hand bothering him? Oh, and he flashed the chains on that one.
That's one way to get an eagle. Just throw it in from across the lake.
Right. That would have made his caddy. You see Avery Jenkins on the bag for him today. Made him pretty happy there.
Fresh face on the course. Shout out to AJ out there.
Yeah, he has never missed a U.S. championship, and he decided, last minute, he wasn't going to miss this one either. Flew out for the weekend. And Conrad, great putter shot. That is such a dangerous line over that water. He executed really well.
He throws that blunt edge disc very far. Very true. It's a good tool to have in the bag. You can get a slow flying disc to do what you want it to do and still go that far. A little wide, a little deep. I think you definitely want to go a little long of this hole if you can, because it takes the front water out of play.
Yeah, making sure he gets it across. He's already 6 back from Conrad, 5 holes in, or 4.5 holes in anyway, and he wants to make sure it's not too much more.
There is zero trouble long and right of this basket, so... Oh, that's playing with the odds right there. He clears the edge by what looked like about 6 inches and ends up at the edge of the circle with a successful shot, but I bet his heart was pounding when that thing was in flight.
Yeah, you could just be a couple inches here or there, like you're saying, and skip left, check back, and then you're in a world of hurt. Long bid from Queen on the way.
Once again, not even basket high.
Yeah, same symptom here. It's just, maybe the mind just won't commit. This is a lot of pressure on this final round here. There's a good commitment.
Yeah, he had the disc fairly level, Nathan seems to be a little bit too nose down at this point. And if you put nose down into the wind, it's going to slam it straight into the ground.
Ooh, stiff link.
A little high, a little left. Anytime the wind brews up and you have more than, say, 15, 20 feet, it's, anybody's game, whether it's going to go into the basket and stay or not.
Yeah, just enough wind here. I mean, you have to commit to these putts fully, and sometimes the wind read just doesn't work out for the players, as Eagle's going to take his par. Again, you got to wonder with that hand injury, is McMahon going to be able to push this pace, or is Conrad going to be able to kind of keep a more steady go of things here? Hole 6. There's 371 feet. These trees on the right here keep growing taller every year, making the spike play that was once so popular just a little bit tougher. At the same time, That left side has been trimmed up, and we've seen Eagle go for it over the water. His forehand is still serviceable in his condition, so we may see that again. You got to stay under these branches if you want to get the slide up and have a look to get the birdie.
That's a good point with the growth of those trees down the right-hand side, because if you catch that second one that's almost pin high down there and drop straight down, you're now OB, and you have to go to the drop zone, where in years past it was just a longer putt for birdie. See, and that's the area I'm talking about. And he just skips out of it, and there's the tree aforementioned.
Yeah, he even chopped a few leaves off there, so bit fortunate, or maybe just powerful enough. Depends on how you look at it.
There used to be a lot higher percentage of people going outside those two trees with the spike hyzer, and now it's smarter play to go down the middle and just take something that skips left at the end, or the low liner.
Conrad, that's a pretty good shot, but it's going to leave it on the putt. Here's Eagle with his new route.
Here we go again, a little inside, didn't quite get on it enough, and as you can see, the big splash. It looked like it wanted to kick into the right when it first hit, but it must have hit something else and kicked it back out.
Nathan, here's this backhand mid-range flip up.
One of the tougher lefty holes on the course, and getting it into anywhere near the sand with a lefty backhand is just a perfectly thrown shot.
Yeah, and interesting here, the stroke and distance penalty rarely works out in your favor, but it sure did, because Eagle gets to go to the drop zone. Almost drops it in.
Yeah, I mean, they put that drop zone in that spot because the water is right behind it. If you get a little greedy trying to go for that putt, you're going to get a second penalty.
Here's Albert. Just a little short as well, but certainly that's preferable to being back where he hit the tree and went out of bounds and having to navigate from there.
Yeah, James has a great angle because he has, as you can see, a little sand and a backdrop there. We can run it. See, he wasn't afraid to give that some go.
Yeah, got a little flagstick love.
A little too much go. There's a bit of a drop off here. It's 2.5 feet from the grass level down to the sand level, so you are above the basket.
There it is. He had to lean into that one.
Well, that's where the nose down helped a little bit on the downhiller. You know, throw it right at the band, the nose down takes it right in there, and he needed that one. A little sigh of relief as he walks back to his caddy.
Yeah, and makes me think of Ricky when he can kind of get that momentum shift back to front and really pitch that disc up with the nose down dive.
Yeah, if you're going to play the nose down, you've got to get it up.
So hole 7 is the triple mando and one of the signature holes on the course. Although the wall is artificially constructed, the emotions are real for the player. And what looks like a super simple hole, getting through that gate has proven very, very, very tough for the players. What should be a simple birdie becomes a par or a bogey pretty quickly.
And I'm sure now in the final round with the gallery surrounding this fairway that gate probably looks a third the size that it usually does.
Yeah, it shrinks up a bit.
And again, queen off the right wall, excuse me.
And that's the best mistake you can make on this hole, is just to hit the wall and stay there.
And Albert asking for it to wheel around. He's going to tag that left wall.
We've got 2 for 2 now. Let's see if someone can pierce through that gap and get themselves on this green.
James Conrad, does anybody throw a putter off the tee as often as this guy?
I think he's number 1 in that stat right now.
Yeah, getting his turned over just a little too much. Ooh.
All 4. Finding the bamboo, and that one's taking a little roll.
Wow. I thought he was going to miss the corner of that and flare OB, but somehow he's out where he can still use that forehand shot.
Almost kind of where the drop zone is.
Certainly preferable if you don't have the backhand to be on the left side as a righty.
Ooh.
And Nathan, this hole's given him all kinds of trouble. He has not really been able to have a good look at birdie all weekend.
Sometimes holes will get in your head. You just kind of get in this funk with the same hole, and you keep making the same mistakes on the same little hole, and you just can't get past it.
Look at this from James Conrad.
Oh, wow.
That looked like his best Simon Lizotte impression from what we've seen earlier this week.
That's what you call commitment, falling forward onto your belly, and just a touch of overcommitment has hit a hair high.
There's a good stick from Nathan.
Good cleanup work after what could have been a disastrous play if it had gone backwards off of that top Mando bar.
Yeah, and all these guys, fortunate once again that Conrad's not really pushing the pace. I mean, he started today at 21 under par. He's only 1 down through 7 on what's known as the easier stretch of the course.
Yeah, this is usually the stretch where you want to pick up a bunch of birdies and kind of hang on as you go into the later holes. So, but he hasn't made any bogeys, which is a good sign.
Yeah, he's not sliding the wrong way quite yet. Hole 8, pick your poison. All kinds of ways you can be in position, all kinds of ways you can be way out of position on that hole. The tee shot is made to set up this second shot here as the fairway narrows and the ground changes consistency. And we've seen some rollers, we've seen some sidearms from the righties flare up over where the drone is flying right now, and then of course the 3 soldiers guarding the basket.
This hole has changed a lot throughout the years. We've lost a few big trees down the left-hand side where that OB area is off the tee. And as you can see, we've lost a couple big trees down by the pin now. There used to be a large tree that had fallen across this fairway, and they left it there for years, and it made a great obstacle when they had a bit of a shorter pin. They left the shorter pin because that tree just was dastardly. It really messed with the players, and it was hard to get a birdie on this hole in its shorter configuration than it is now.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. And these players are having, for the most part, no trouble getting up into the sweet spot. Albert Tamm, the exception on the cards so far, slamming that left side tree. Looks like he eagle held onto that one a little bit.
Filters through the branches and gets out just into the prime area to throw your second shot. This shot's become increasingly more difficult the farther you lay it back off the tee. If you hit a tree, there is a lot of OB. There's a hill that can roll you down towards the OB. There's a mandatory there. And now you've stuck on a side hill with some crazy footing on your next shot.
Yeah, there is a line to the basket sort of against the fence of the baseball field, but tricky footing like you're saying, champ. You see Eagle clip some leaves there on his second.
And this is a favorite play of mine on this hole, is to lay down that backhand roller. And look at it, he's getting some love through all there, and that's up there and just about the circle's edge. Wow.
He squirts through and just manages to find a line to the basket. If he'd hit the line, he'd probably been parked. That weight looked good.
Yeah, the course giveth and the course taketh. And it gave one to James there, and it just took one.
Yeah, Nathan not able to capitalize. There was an opportunity for him there.
Look at this sweet little line down by the fence down to the basket.
And I feel like this area is open. Is my memory incorrect? Are people just getting better at throwing down that gap?
No, you're correct. There was a bit more of a brushy kind of bush that hung out closer to that fence that made it a lot harder to get up and down if you were tucked in by the fence. Oh, we've got a disc hit.
Bocce. Here's Conrad, gallery behind him. Soldiers to navigate.
Very nice. Right between the pillars, and gets that second birdie of the round.
Wow. In unusual fashion. Sometimes you don't have to see the whole basket. You just need a sliver of chain.
Sometimes it's nice to have a guide right there. A little guide, you can just barely miss the guide, and you're in the basket.
Oh, that's what you do. See, I just say, try to hit that, and I'll probably miss.
Oh, okay.
And then I could fall into the basket accidentally after that.
Skip off the top of the post.
Sure, however I can get it.
Hole 9, so this is where Winthrop really begins to show its teeth. This was my first hole design out here at Winthrop on the Gold Course. This is a triple island hole. Players will have the opportunity to test how courageous they want to be. Laying up on the first island is essentially going to be a par. Testing the second island will be the only opportunity to get a birdie, but not a guarantee of it. Players will have to throw one more great shot underneath the Winthrop basket in order to take a good score on the hole.
holes starting to run out for the competitors here as James Conrad's lead has increased over 8. And with a shot like that, it doesn't look like he's ready to give up strokes.
There was definitely no layup in that, and that's into the skinniest portion of that second island, which we like to call the kidney bean because it's shaped a little differently than the other two. And he has put that just pure dead center.
Nathan starting to struggle a little bit like we saw on the back 9 yesterday. It's interesting to note that this is playing the hardest today, over a whole stroke over par, a 5.09 average.
That can be believed because this hole's playing directly into that headwind that's been brewing up since last night.
And that shot right there, that OB looked like it was designed for Albert, just missing the shape of the bean. And I think this is the first shot we've seen all week where someone goes for the first island.
In the lead group you're talking about, yeah.
Yes, definitely. Eagle playing to his strengths right now. I'm impressed with his patience, but also wondering he's not going for this anymore. He's kind of playing position golf.
Yeah, I mean, it must really be bothering him if he's not trying to throw this hole a little harder than he did.
Yeah, uncharacteristically passive play.
Oh, that looks like it's in between the 2 islands there. Couldn't tell. Or if it was just at the end of the one island.
Either way, not a guaranteed putt as Albert goes to the drop zone, throwing his third. Still leaving some work out there into the headwind.
Oh, that's on that little wood chip area. Okay, that's probably like 40 feet short of the basket. It's safe.
James, putter again.
This guy just constantly ripping his putter into the headwind and having confidence in it.
Yeah, it's as if there was no wind at all, like it was the last 3 days.
And Eagle playing the exact opposite kind of game, taking the most overstable disc and just sending a spike hyzer up there. Spike hyzer a little more predictable into that headwind.
Ooh, that's a mighty heave from Nathan, and he got it high enough that time, just not quite on line.
And this is a hole you don't want to be too high on if you go flying by the basket, because there's an OB and a drop-off back there, which you can definitely reach with a putt if you're a little too frisky.
Oh, that was bazooka distance for Tamm, but he couldn't cash it.
Oh, he is lucky that caught some flag there, because that would have definitely gone across that OB line.
Second time in 9 holes.
And just the opposite.
Yeah, that one was definitely the hand. You could see him kind of shake it out after the release.
The flags are starting to whip out here, Jamie. It's going to be an interesting back 9.
Yeah, these guys are running out of holes if they want to press the leader here. They're kind of just letting Conrad get away with some mistakes that we're not used to seeing him make with the style of game he plays.
Yeah, no one's really running him down at this point.
And it's good to see 5-time champ Paige Pierce out there battling out in the field. The bazooka himself. Lots of personalities out in disc golf. Lots of action still to come. 9 more holes. We are going to decide the 2019 US champion. Come right back here on SpinTV.